The ACU women's basketball team looks to avenge its January loss to Southeastern Louisiana as they welcome the Lady Lions to Moody Saturday. I'm Max Preston.
And I'm Grant Boone. We'll look back at a pair of big wins on the road and ahead to the home game Saturday that has postseason implications. This is the Julie Goodenough Show right now. Welcome to this week's episode of the Julie Goodenough Show from the JMC Network studios at Abilene Christian University. I'm Grant Boone alongside ASU senior journalism major Max Preston and the head coach of the ASU women's basketball team, Julie Goodenough. A winning week for the Wildcats has ASU now 16-8 overall, 9-4 in the Southland Conference, a lone coach in third place, 5 games left in the regular season. We keep reminding our fans, and we'll keep doing it as we go along. The top 2 teams in the league get to skip the first 2 rounds of the conference tournament. Teams 3 and 4 at the end of the regular season get to skip the first round. It seems rather obvious that you'd want one of those buys or double buys, but from a coach's perspective, let's just say you get one of those first round buys. How big would it be to skip the first day of the tournament?
Well, you know, this was all new to us last year.
That's
it was our
true.
first time to play in the conference tournament. And first of all, KD does a tremendous job hosting it. The Southland Conference does a great job. Everything was so well organized. We were felt very special. You're made to feel special there. But we had to play in the first round and played very well. We beat New Orleans. We turned around the very next day and we played Central Arkansas, who had been in the stands watching our game. They're fresh. I felt like we played a really good, probably 25 to 28 minutes against Central Arkansas. But the fourth quarter, you could tell which team had played the day before. So I think it makes a huge difference in how successful you can be throughout the course of the weekend if you can take at least, you know, one round off.
So you faced Nichols, Ard Simmons last week, and playing on a different court can be weird for a team, even if it's still in Abilene. But nothing was as weird, strange as being locked in the locker room. Walk us through that crazy sequence.
So we meet an hour and a half before the game in the locker room, just myself and the team, and we just talk a little bit and try to get our minds right for the game. As soon as we're done, about 85 minutes before the game, we have about 5 players that are like racing me out the door to get out on the court. They don't have to be out there until about 65 minutes before the game, but about 85 minutes before the game, they start to go out and the door won't open. And they're like, Coach, is there a code or something? I'm like, no, just turn the handle, you know. Well, you can see in between the door and the frame that the little mechanism's not working.
Oh, boy.
And so the way they're set up over there, their volleyball coach's office is actually in the locker room. And so I'm knocking on her door, and I was like, hey, is there a trick to the door? And so she starts calling the maintenance people, and it's really funny. You know, we're locked in the locker room, and we start, like, moving tiles from the ceiling, acting like we're going to crawl out and things like that. And you know, a few girls have snacks, and we start talking about we got to start rationing these. We don't know how long we're going to be in here, and then it starts getting kind of serious after about 20 minutes. I'm like, hey, we're getting into our pregame warm up here. Like, what are we going to do? And eventually, they had to just break the entire doorknob off, left a big hole in the door, just to move that little mechanism out of the door frame so that we could open the door. We were in there for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And the home team and the visiting team have to agree to change the tip-off time, and we were able to change the time 5 minutes. So we tipped off at 6:05 after just sitting in the locker room for 45 minutes. But in hindsight, it was probably the best thing for our team because it was just kind of like comic relief. We're hanging out in the locker room, everybody's making jokes, except Lexi Bouquet. She might not have been joking. I think she was getting a little bit claustrophobic. But we were just having fun, bonding, and it got our team loose and allowed them to play as well as they did in the game.
They say you can't go home again. Maybe that's why. Your first game to coach there since 2002, and then you get locked in. Well, all's well that ended well, and did it ever end well? We'll talk about that victory over Nichols when we return. This is the Julie Goodenough Show. The ASU women's basketball team evacuated Moody Coliseum for the week because of sing-song, which meant playing a home game against Nichols at the place, Coach, where your head coaching career began down Ambler Avenue at Hardin-Simmons University. We just talked about that weird beginning, getting trapped in the locker room, starting the game a bit late. But when it did start, your team played maybe, if not the most complete game of the year, one of its most complete games of the year against the defending Southland Conference tournament champs. You beat Nichols 76-66. You brought Sarah Williamson off the bench for the first time all season, and did it ever work? She led all scorers with 24 points. She tied a career high with 11 baskets made, 11 out of 14 shooting. And in a game that featured the most recent postseason and preseason player of the year in Cassidy Barrios of Nichols, was Sarah the best player on the floor that night?
Absolutely. Yeah, she absolutely was. You know, we came into last week off of a very disappointing week, and, you know, we, as a staff, we had to make changes. You know, if we continue doing the same thing, we're going to get the same result. And so we issued a couple of challenges to our players, you know, in our preparations for the Nichols game. And we saw some players really rise to the occasion. And Maddie Miller earned a starting spot and did a phenomenal job starting the game for us. Sarah came in off the bench, and that's a tough job to ask your senior starter, hey, we need you to come off the bench today. And she just came in and did what she does. And she was cheering on the bench, really played a great game for us. So definitely I think Sarah was the best player on the floor.
Maybe not a coincidence, by the way. You've had a great season, and every team is going to have a quarter that's not their best. Second quarter hasn't been your best this year. It's been the worst statistically of your four quarters. You had two great winning quarters last week, and Sarah came off the bench. Who knows how much that affected it, but interesting.
Yeah, so you get the win and you move ahead of Nichols in the standings. But from your standpoint, though, at this point, as you're getting close to the end of the season, how important is this win, being so close to them?
Yeah, last week was huge for us. Both games that we played were pivotal for our season, I felt like. We had to make some changes with intensity in practice. We had to start playing better and finishing quarters in games. And so last week, to me, were two of our most complete games that we've played, especially in 2019. At the Nichols win was huge for us. And then to go on the road and be as collective and as poised as we were at Incarnate Word were really big for our team. And you want to be playing well this time of the season for sure. We've got some very important games coming up. And so I think last week, if nothing else, besides the 2-0 week that we had, it was a huge confidence booster for our program.
Well, off that huge win Wednesday, you drove down to San Antonio, where three of your players are from. It felt to me down there a little bit like a home game against Incarnate Word. But the Cardinals were coming off a really nice win themselves on Wednesday against Southeastern Louisiana. Second quarter, you go on a 9-0 run. You took a lead that you would never relinquish, and you wound up winning going away 71-50. You're now 6-1 on the road in conference play. What do you think is the reason or reasons why your team has played so well away from Moody?
You know, when we're on the road, we handle that like a business trip, and we really kind of dictate, I mean, every 30 minutes, every hour of the trip. You know, we spend a lot of time together. When we're on the road, we have extra time to watch a video, we have extra time to stretch, we have extra time to go over our scouting report. And so, you know, it's kind of a weird situation for us. I think we're better prepared on the road than we are at home sometimes, just because of the amount of time that we spend together. We talk about basketball during mealtime. You know, we just have a lot of time to really focus on the task at hand. And for the San Antonio trip, it's a fun trip for our team because, like you said, we have 3 players from San Antonio. We maxed out our pass list with all their friends and family. And we have been very fortunate with fan support in San Antonio. I mean, every year that I've taken a team there, we have so much purple in the stands. Our San Antonio alumni group is very faithful. However, we didn't see a lot of them on Saturday because they were here in Abilene. And I got some Facebook messages about, we are so sorry we're missing your game, but we're going to be in Abilene for our club's breakfast and sing-song and all of that. But we had a great crowd, a very lively crowd, and they had a lot to cheer about.
They did.
So, you know, specifically Alyssa Adams, she came through with a career day against Incarnate Word. She had 14 points. She kind of had a fan section as a lot of family members came to watch her. They were cheering for her a lot. But, you know, we don't talk about Adams a lot on this show. She's made a lot of improvements from freshman year to sophomore year. She shot like 38% from the free throw line last year, and now she's shooting about 71%. How important has she been to your team this year?
Well, it's been just phenomenal to see the maturity in Alyssa, both physically and mentally, and just her commitment to our program. And she's one of the players that she spent a lot of time on her own in the gym, and she's kind of made her home down in Gym C in the rec center. She goes down there a lot. She doesn't care if Moody's taken. She goes down to Gym C, and There's 6 baskets down there. She can work on free throws all she wants, and she has figured out how to work at a different level this year. She's working a lot harder for longer periods of time, like in practices. And right now we have a really good 3-post rotation with her in that, with Michaela and Lexi Duque, and they're doing a tremendous job rebounding. They're getting better on defense. I have found myself, and I even told the post players this yesterday, I've found myself calling a lot more of our sets that turn into high-low post feed situations because our posts are becoming such consistent scoring threats for us.
Well, and good passing is a part of that as well.
Absolutely.
And you protected the basketball by and large on Saturday. Just one game this week for the AC women's basketball team against Southeastern Louisiana at Moody on Saturday as the Wildcats try to remain in the top 4 of the conference standings. We'll preview that in a moment. Stay with us on the Julie Goodenough Show. Just 2 more weeks to go in the regular season after Saturday. No midweek game for the AC women's basketball team this week. Coach, how have you and your team and your coaching staff spent this last break of the regular season?
Well, it's just such a great time to spend time on yourself as far as just individuals, watching individual film, doing as much recovery as possible. We have a lot of wear and tear right now on our team, but knock on wood, we've been incredibly lucky. We haven't had bad injuries, but we do have a lot of like chronic pain, things like that. And so we're trying to be careful this first part of the week just to try to remedy some of the little injuries that we have, but also spend time on ourselves, getting up lots of shots, just taking advantage of not having a game today so that we can have fresh legs on Saturday.
Yeah, so you'll get Southeastern Louisiana this Saturday. Last time you played them, you lost on the road. This time you get them at home. They've lost 8 of their last 10, which is kind of surprising to me. Are they a different team from the last time you saw them?
I'm not sure. We're breaking film down right now. What I have done mostly the last couple of days is watch our game, and it's not fun at all. We played a very good Southeastern team. They made shot after shot with defenders in their face. I mean, I thought they played really good. And I thought our defense was about as bad as it could be. And when you're on the road, you have to take a good defensive game with you. But I don't really know. But I would expect them to be really good on Saturday. I think they have a great coaching staff. They're doing a nice job with their team. And I don't know, why they've dropped some of the games they have. They've been in close games. Yeah. I mean, they're in games for sure. And so we're going to look forward to a great battle on Saturday. I would look for it to be a close game. We traditionally play really close games to Southeastern, whether they're at their place or at our place. So, I would encourage fans to come out. It's going to be a great day, a good doubleheader. So two really good games on the horizon on Saturday.
And everyone's playing for something. They're trying to get into the tournament. You're trying to stay in that top 4. All right, last week, you literally were mugging for the camera, cheering on your daughter's club, Gata, and sing something. They came up a little bit short. I thought it was a great act. Have you had a chance to break down the film and see where how things went for Gata?
The one thing that I noticed was I thought the Gata set was wonderful, but there were no moving parts. I felt like maybe they got counted off a few points for that, but I thought their costumes were brilliant. Love the vocals, love the lyrics. I still, was cheering Gata on, and I was shocked when they didn't win it at the end, to be quite honest. And I zipped back from San Antonio. I was there for the 8 o'clock show, cheering them on, but tough competition, though.
Really
I
tough.
thought, especially in the girls' division, there was a lot of competition. So
no one lost. It's just that someone won. That's the way that I'd phrase it.
What
was
a great production, though. I enjoy singing song every year. It is so well done.
And Macy Goodenough was right there front and center
She
on the
was
front row.
absolutely.
Your
yes,
folks
she
were
was.
there, and they got to do the little face.
Oh, yeah. My folks,
that was
in-laws,
good.
yeah, big family affair.
It was a great weekend on the Hill, and this weekend should be huge as well. The ACU men's and women's basketball teams hosting Southeastern Louisiana on Saturday. The women's game tips at 1. The men's game will follow. You can watch both on ESPN3 and listen to both on 98.1 FM The Ticket. Hard to believe just 3 more chances to see the Wildcats at home this season. Come on out and cheer them on. For Max and the coach, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching the Julie Goodenough Show. We'll see you at Moody on Saturday and see you right here next week.